Happy Friday, everybody. We are back at the whiteboard, and we are back here because this past week, Fred Vallis released a match type study from Optmyzer talking about which match types perform best. And there was a whole lot of comments and a whole lot of confusion about how match types work now and what that means for your campaign. So in this video, we're going to go through how match types currently work, why they work that way, and how you can make them work for you. So let's start with how in the world we got here. So match types basically have a branding problem. Pre-2021, match types worked like this. We had 4 match types in total: exact, phrase, broad match modified, and broad match. And exact meant pretty close to almost exact match. Phrase meant the phrase included in those quotation marks had to be included in the same order in the query. So it legitimately did match 2 phrases. Broad match modified was basically inclusive match, where each word that was preceded by a plus had to be included in the query in some place. The order didn't matter, but the word had to be there. And broad match was basically related match, where it matched to anything that Google kind of thought was related, which meant it was garbage. After those changes in 2021, we went from 4 match types to 3, with phrase and broad consolidated into a single type of match, which is now called phrase match. But everything now no longer functions those same ways. So exact match went from legitimately exact to functional match. And that means it matches to basically anything that mirrors the same function as your keyword. So if your keyword is men's hats, it could match to headwear for men, right? Functionally, it's kind of looking for the same thing. Phrase and broad collapsed into conceptual match, which essentially functions like a broader phrase match and matches to any search that is conceptually related to or close to the actual search. So for men's hats, that might match to trucker hats. That could match to beanies, right? Conceptually, we're talking about the same thing. Headwear. Is the type of headwear the same? No. Would somebody say a trucker hat and a men's hat are necessarily the same thing? No, but are they conceptually related? Yeah. And broad match went from legitimately related match to behavioral match. So this is the only match type that uses Google's machine learning technology. We'll see how smart it is, because it's not that smart yet. And basically starts to match things to searches searched by people who are interested in those things, right? So you end up with some really broad match. Broad match here, you'll see, has the little star. This is the default match type when you are adding stuff to your campaign. So Google necessarily tries to push you into broad because it is the widest, it gives them the most optionality. So you end up in this situation where most advertisers are living between exact and phrase because broad is just too broad. And if you look at the search terms report, you're probably going to see the same thing. Broad can work, and we actually have some use cases over here, but it really is broad. And you have to evaluate broad as a behavioral match, not necessarily as literally as a search terms report might suggest you do, right? But even within those match types, right? Even if we say, okay, got it, there's a whole bunch of different ways things can match. So we've got identical match. This is important, even more important now with PMax, because this means the query, what was typed into Google, is identical to what your exact match keyword. This gets the highest priority in auctions, which is really important because if you have a Performance Max campaign and a search campaign, and they are targeting the same types of things, you want your search campaign to get priority, which means you need an identical match positive keyword or a negative in the Performance Max campaign in order to make sure it gets there. Identicals do not include plurals. They don't include misspellings. It is identical. Then you have your exact match, which basically the query matches men's hats, men's hat. Those are an exact match. And then you have close variance. So this is, the query is basically close-ish to the keyword searched. This is where you get in trouble when you're looking at your search terms report. What you should be looking at is the match type, your close variance. I have seen close variance be radically different. So for instance, Warshawski, our agency, I saw in our search terms report, our agency phone number was a exact match close variant to our agency name as the keyword. The phone number was a close match to the name. And I've seen multiple posts on X about how this is actually getting broader, where addresses, employee names, even call tracking numbers are being exactly matched as a close variance to brands. So you got to be careful with your close variance. So all of this leads to a thing of, okay, well, which one should I use and for what? So let's talk about that, right? So I have our 3 in-use match types: broad, phrase, exact, the reach that each one will get you, the level of control it gives you, and where you should think about using it. So let's start. Broad match obviously has the highest reach, because this is Google basically saying people that are interested in this also might search for this. People that are interested in this, people behave that like this, could search for this. It's broad. You have the highest reach and the lowest control. Right? There is no guarantee the word will be included in the query. There's no guarantee they're even looking for your services. I have seen car accident lawyer match to immigration law. Those 2 things are nowhere near related, but Google thought, well, people that are looking for lawyers kind of behave alike, so I guess we're going to put them together, right? Very little control, but where it is good is keyword discovery. If you are trying to figure out how people might be searching for your brand or for your product or for the service you provide, Broad Match can give you a ton of different searches that you can go through in the search terms report and be like, that's relevant, that's not. That's relevant, that's not. It's very helpful for building that out. It's great if you have broadly applicable products or services, right? If you are a lawn care company that offers gardening and mulching and tree trimming, right? Broadly applicable home services brand, you might try Broad Match, because anybody who's searching for, landscaping near me, well, you don't care if it matches it to tree trimming. You don't care if it matches it to gardening. You don't care if it matches it to mulching. You don't care if it matches it to hedge trimming. You don't care if it matches it to lawn mowing, right? You do all those things. You have a broadly applicable service. Broad Match is fine. If you are running automated bidding, Broad Match can work really, really well with a target CPA or a target ROAS campaign. Both leverage machine learning. Google recommends they work together. I think that if you're going to do that, you should definitely have some negatives. And the final piece is if you have new or emerging campaigns or service areas. So what do I mean by that? I mean, there's a lot of verticals that are emerging, right? We have whole industries that are starting to come around, different types of products, etc. No one quite knows how to search for those. So Google might actually have a better idea of what people are actually putting into the search box than you do, because the industry is not established. The same thing is true for new campaigns. If you have no historical data, Broad will allow your campaigns to start serving faster, so you can get data and learn faster. And even though there will be some waste, sometimes it's a worthwhile trade-off to take some waste on the front end for faster learning and faster sales. Okay, phrase. This is the one that Fred said was the winner. I don't know if I agree with him, and I think the data that he is drawing from doesn't suggest that it's the winner. It suggests that it can be a happy medium, right? And if you see, that's basically what you see here. You see moderate reach, moderate control, best for mid-funnel qualified traffic. You have informational queries, you have exploratory queries, and you just want to figure out and capture as many of those as possible without getting into the craziness of broad and without overly restricting yourself. Phrase is your go-to. It can work on high intent terms, but the nature of phrase as a conceptual match might lead you into bad places. For instance, I've seen it match truck accident lawyer with truck accident on I-95. Conceptually, those can be related. In practice, you don't want to pay a truck accident lawyer CPC on truck accident on I-95. So again, keeping it mid-funnel, best way to go here. Final one, exact. So you have low reach, right? It is going to match mostly kind of functionally exactly, right? It's going to have some broadness to it because of how match types work with this variant situation, but it will have the lowest. It gives you the most control. So you can really narrow in on those high value keywords, which is exactly where you should use it. High value, high intent, known keywords with known values, right? If you have these are your gotta have them terms, whether they are service specific, branded terms, etc. You gotta have those searches. You don't want your budget to deviate from those searches, and you want to maximize the number of times you show up. Exact match all the way, every day. Take it to the bank. It is the best way to go. If you want to explore, go broad. If you want to capture a moderate amount, go phrase. If you need to have something, get exact. And let me, before we close this shorter whiteboard video, let's recap with one other thing. All of this is for positive keywords, things that you're targeting. Negative keywords don't follow any of these rules. Negative keywords actually revert back to the old keyword match types in reverse. So we will cover that on next week's whiteboard and how you can take advantage of those. But until then, have a great week and talk to you next week.